How can anyone not love them? Their voices are so good.
You're now reacting to the 7-member girl group Dreamcatcher and their song In the Frozen, which is a song released on the same album as Scream. This song compares a single flower blooming on a cold cliffside to falling in love with someone and wanting their warm embrace. Whoa! Warm embrace.
Excuse yes. I was gonna excuse me.
The song is composed by High Five and once again leaves No Longer.
Into the unknown. Say it again. Ready?
No, I'm not doing that.
Full voice, come on. Ready,
I can't.
set,
I'm not
go. Into the unknown.
And that's it.
I'm in love already.
It's trippy how that it's like there's like swells going on.
Exactly. But it's not like continuous swells. That's why it's like. Oh, nice. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, there's sort of like a fantasy element to a lot of the songs. This is the same album that we looked at. No?
No.
I still feel like they have like a fantasy element to all their stuff, just traditionally.
It's beautiful. Wow.
See the underlying low harmony? Oh, yeah. Oh, the voice blend really nicely together.
Building up. Give us a drop.
Really like that patch.
The build-up was surprisingly fast for me in terms of subdivision, and this is surprisingly slow.
Yeah, it's satisfying enough. It's heavy enough to drop. Oh, ooh.
And now they're speeding up the rhythm.
Yeah, the percussion in this is really intricate. I think that's what makes it very cool.
Weird harmonics. Man, I want these sections longer. That was so good, but it was only like 4 bars.
Yeah.
Man. A lot of good ideas though. Nice fifths, the fifths and the fourths.
Wow, that was a really nice transition.
How can anyone not love them? Their voices are so good.
And then without low brass, just like, oh no, it's gone.
Did you hear that? They like evaded the 5, and then they changed the key.
Okay, the piano contrasting is very good. It's awesome. Just good line too. This is very dramatic. Hey! Wow! Cool arpeggio. Oh. New sound. This almost sounds like Israeli psytrance. That's a genre you don't hear about every day. Yeah, that's really cool.
They really like their
And that's it? Oh my god.
Yeah, because that was the 8th grouping.
But that's such a short.
Too, where they group in 8.
No,
or
but
like in
in
4.
8 bars, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang, that's so short.
I think if I went back and I counted all of the major sections, I think a lot of them would probably have
Major
like a grouping of 8
The chorus were mostly 1, 6, 4, 5, I think, in minor.
for harmony.
1, 6, 4, 5, 1. But then, yeah, they extend it. They like elongate it. The 4, 5, 1 gets faster, right? It takes like the span of like what would you consider like the earlier previous beats. 1, 6. 5, 1 or something, you know what I mean? Yeah, they like kind of like change it a little so like there is like this like push at the end.
I have an anecdote. So I was
cool.
at
like it was a techno night club like last weekend, and I noticed
Wait,
like
where?
I was dancing. I don't know, somewhere in Rochester, but I was dancing, and like whenever a song started having higher pitched drum sounds, like that sound kind of like clapping, everyone would start like moving their arms more or like putting them up. Like there's some connection between higher pitched drum sounds and like being more like energetic. In this song, I was like, yeah, I could totally feel that like right when that. If I were dancing to this, I'd be like there's something about the music that is like manipulative of like the listener in a good way, in my opinion.
It's like the literal positions of the body is like.
The higher up, the more.
It's like reflective of like the register.
But if you think of like a big bass thing, like if you're dancing, you're like not
like
going
shake
like
your hips or whatever. Versus
you're like bottom heavy, you know?
Yeah.
Movement.
Did you hear the strings that came in? Yeah.
Nope. So I wasn't paying attention. That was it. Bum, ba, da, da. That's like minor 6. That's got a lot of like can bring a lot of sweetness to it. So I like that.
They really do change up the rhythm though, which is nice.
No, yeah, it's duple. The drums, but the rap, their vocals are triplet. Give me them more, whatever they're singing. Triplet, do-da-dee-do. Yeah.
I love this like thing that they did both in Scream and in Frozen, which is they have a do-do, do-do, do-do. For like the rhythm of one of their motifs. It's like, I don't know. I love something about that.
That's like Beethoven. I do have to say though, it is. He does that all the time, like this da 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 da. Like, and then we get like da da. You know what I think is so interesting about music is I always think about like what is the time and place for this to be performed? And I just think it's interesting that like for me this gives like strong dance club vibes. And I'm just kind of like, okay. And then I think about like classical music and I'm like, you know, a bunch of like privileged people like spending $160 on a ticket for like
slowly down the aisle.
Yeah, there's like you dress up, there's like an etiquette and stuff. And I definitely think that like Dreamcatcher has like you can already tell their brand and like just like it's really impressive vocals and textures, and I think it's really cool.
It's super accessible. It's super well crafted. So the more you listen to it, I think the more of these things you'll notice. Like the side chaining, not just in the beginning, but it continued throughout the rest of the piece. I wish they did it a little more. But it was really beautiful. And it's just like these little teeny tiny things that make it clear that whoever's making these tracks like really cares about them.
I really like the emphasis. The whole song, the melody line emphasizes on the G, C, D, E flat, and then the interplay with all those notes, especially the da 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 da. All sorts of, it just kind of goes back and forth. But the writing is still very good, and I think, you know, they're not just plugging in those notes conveniently. It feels like it's a well-written melody, and they're using those notes creatively and artistically. And I really like that. I also really like the sort of venturing into some more obscure genres of EDM. I grew up listening to a group called Infected Mushroom. Pretty weird name. Some of you may have heard of them. They're getting more and more popular, I feel like. But Israeli psytrance, especially the slightly American influenced Israeli psytrance. I feel that whenever the beat goes dark and
So the last chorus you felt that, or?
The last chorus I felt that the most. But the first chorus, like thinking back on it, the first chorus had a lot of hints of that as well.
I think one of the things that we as musicians are sort of very aware of, I think, is the space in which we're performing. So the sound of like a very big room is what we would call like very wet generally. So there's a lot of echo and a lot of reverb on the sound. So it just feels like there's a lot of sound sort of enveloping you the whole time.
Could you edit in a really big reverb on this?
But yeah, I think, and then when you're playing in a very small room that like has a lot of dampening in it, like the practice rooms here, and a lot of like more, I feel like a lot of recording studio spaces, there's usually a lot of like cloth on the walls that's meant to absorb sound. So you don't get a lot of the echoing effect, and you don't get a lot of the like extra reverb of the room. And so it sounds very like dry. Like whenever a note is played, you don't really hear the end of it continue when the person stops playing. And what I think was really cool about this is that there is a lot of like push and pull between like a wet sound and a dry sound. So something that I was noticing in the chorus is like the bass drop at the very beginning of the chorus is a very wet sound. So the bass drops and you really hear it keep going and there's a lot of reverb on it. And then in the next couple beats, it kind of shrinks again. So you go from feeling like you're in this big sound to feeling like you're in this very dry, small sound. So I expected like the chorus to keep being this like very big, like intense, like, oh, there's just a lot of sound happening in a big room sort of feeling. But in reality, it like subverted my expectation by bringing it back down to a smaller, drier sound.
Yep. Into the unknown.
And that's it. No, that's a really bad start. You're never gonna
That's
find
it.
that. That's it. No!